Well, hello there, YouTube. How the heck is everybody doing? It's supposedly no chance of rain, but it's definitely a cloudy and nasty looking day out here. It says no chance of rain, but you know how that is. But 14 months ago, actually just a few days from being exactly 14 months, I stopped right here and had something to show you guys. If you guys remember, that long back? I haven't been given this MotoVlog side, as I frequently call it. It's not necessarily MotoVlog, but that's how I started out, was with MotoVlog, so I call it the MotoVlog channel. But anyway, I showed you guys a beautiful 2018 R1250 GS Adventure, the Rallye Edition. Let me introduce you to the 2019 R1250 GS Adventure 1250 GS Adventure. This is the all new shift cam model, and instead of calling it a Rallye, they now refer to it as HP. This is one incredibly sexy motorcycle, and that motor just could not be more magical. I apologize for the dirty side bags. I'm running an errand today, so I threw them on, and they got rode in the rain on the 1200 GSA. Wonderful, absolutely epic. Last time I was here, remember the Amtrak come racing through here. Hopefully get lucky and get something like that again. But the changes, big changes in the motor, more horsepower, more torque. It gained 83 cc's. It went from 1170 to 1253. The brakes have changed, only in the front though. They're now using BMW badged brakes, but they're actually made by Hayes. It's a company here in the United States. And the feel of those things are phenomenal. If you're used to the GS Adventures, you'll notice right away the beefier tank or frame guards, engine guards are about the same diameter and whatnot, but they're shaped a little different. It's got that metal thing they were starting to use on the GSs last year. Now it has its own version. You can see the plastics changed. The roundel used to be back here, and this was just a little access door to your coolant reservoir tank. A lot of black on it. All this is black instead of silver, black handlebars. And they've gone with this single little glove box cover, so to speak. All of them have just a black, and it seems to be much beefier. TFT, I swapped my nav over. Other than that, everything's pretty much the same. The Shift Assist Pro seems to be smoother. I don't have any of the technical details of what exactly has been changed yet. In fact, they sent out a bulletin for the service on it. It's so new that AIR, which stands for After Sales Information Research, that's where all the manuals are for the dealers, doesn't even have the manual for this thing yet. So, but they sent us the stuff for setup PDI and doing the services on it. But the motor, magical. It idles lower, idles real low. I think it's only 1,000 RPMs, but it seems way lower than that. And smooth. It has this cool, like, Japanese sport bike kind of whistle to it. And the shift cam basically has two sets of cam lobes. Has a torquey set of lobes and then a top end set of lobes. And this thing has a rush on it on the top end. It's like a sport bike. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Well, hey there, buddy. You barking instead? You coming to visit me, huh? But anyway, one of the things I get asked the most about is the difference between a standard chassis with this, which this is, and a low chassis. The frame is the same. The subframe, which all that does is hold the seat and the bags back here. That's all that does. It has nothing to do with the suspension. There is no linkage on the suspension. It's directly bolted to the not the subframe, but the back of the frame, and directly bolted to the swing arm, which is a single-sided swing arm. If you guys don't know that, you can take the wheel off like a car. But swing arm's the same. All the levers for the suspension's the same. The fork's the same. Everything is the same. The difference is it's got a shorter center stand if it comes equipped with a center stand, has a shorter side stand, which they all come with. But the difference is in the shocks. The shocks are 50 millimeters shorter. And I get asked, do they handle the same? No, they do not. You shorten the suspension, you're bringing everything in. Everything is moving at an angle. So it shortens it. And the other thing is, because it's shorter, the valving of the front shock, right there, if you can see that, front shock, and the rear shock is different. They're stiffer. Kind of like Harley does when they, hi buddy, you probably smell my dogs and stuff. You're a big dog. If you decide you don't want me here, I'm in big trouble. But at any rate, look, kind of like Harley squatting their bikes to get that, you know, that look that they want. They're stiff. They're stiff because of less travel, and people are going to be doing wild things on these. So that's the only difference. The length of the suspension, length of the side stand and center stand if it's equipped. Oh, didn't mean to scare you there, Poochie. The other thing is the difference between a GS and a GS Adventure. Literally the frame is different because there's different mounting points for the equipment that's on it. The difference is the huge tank and the different body work that widens it up out here. That's it. There's an 18-pound difference because it has a lot more stuff. It comes with the running lights and the all the full equipped engine guards and all this other whiz-bang doohickey stuff. But anyway, it's just a size difference. There's 18 pounds. Now, if you look at the specs, it'll show you 40 pounds because the weight they're giving you is with the tank full. This thing holds 22 pounds more gasoline than a GS does. That's where the 40 pounds is coming from. That's, you know, ready to roll weight. And the other difference is the visual. One is not any better for dirt than the other. You can ride these. If you watch the GS Rallye series, it's probably a little more GSs than GSAs, but there's almost a 50-50 mix of GS and GS Adventures. It's just a bigger tank. And because of the bigger tank, you got a wider area that you're looking at. They're essentially rolling on the exact same chassis. 18 pounds difference. If you want the 18 pounds difference, put the amount of gas that the GS holds in it, and you got an 18-pound different bike. Do you notice the difference? Absolutely, positively not. You're talking a bike that's almost 600 pounds. You're not going to notice 40 pounds. You absolutely do not notice it. It's visual. You're looking down on this big, wide, pregnant, guppy looking thing. And you ride it for a little bit, completely forget about it. Oh, Lord, we got a train. Hey, Poochie. Come here, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on over here away from the train. Come on. Come on. I don't want you near the tracks. Come on, buddy. Oh, sounds like an Amtrak too. It's moving. Oh, this is beautiful. This is perfect. No way I'm getting an Amtrak again. So hang tight here. I'll come back on when he's coming. There she's got. Boy, he is moving. It's just a regular freighter. All right, that dog doesn't like the trains. He's rolling out. Oh man, he's moving. That scares me. Them freighters going that fast. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. There's no way this happened with a second bike. That is too cool. Wow. Alright. That's epic. It just doesn't get any cooler than that. So anyway, there's your lesson between low chassis, standard chassis, GSA versus GS. Simple changes. The difference in handling between a low chassis and a standard chassis is very noticeable. And me personally, I don't like the low chassis. I had that triple black low chassis. I had a GS Rallye low chassis, and an exclusive low chassis. I think it was a low chassis. Maybe it was standard. Anyway, don't like them. I just don't. That's just me personally. They don't corner as well, especially because typical GSA rider. I probably, I do spend 90% of my time, 95% of my time on the road. The suspension on these are just so much more subtle. They soak up the bumps so much better. You're not just constantly bouncing down the road like you're riding a Sportster or something with the stock suspension on it. Fundamentally better on the GSA over the GS. Your comfort level behind the larger mass, and like I say, when you're, put my shield down, when you're riding, it's not as wide as the cylinders, so your cylinders are your limiting factor between GS and GSA. It's not as wide as the cylinders. It's a visual thing. It makes it no less capable for dirt riding. None. The cylinders are still in the way. The wideness is in front of the cylinders. You as the driver is not affected in any way. Same thing. It's just a bigger tank. And it comes with way more stuff. And the price difference, you couldn't buy half of the stuff that's on a GSA for the price difference. Couldn't do it. I mean, the price difference is nothing considering everything you get on it. Number one, the suspension. I haven't compared the suspension between the GS and GSA, but immediately you ride a GSA and you go, whoa, the suspension, your adjustments are more precise. It just, overall, the suspension feels better. Standard versus standard, low versus low. It's different. I haven't compared those two, between GS and GSA. It just doesn't matter to me. I ride a GSA, and this is extreme comfort. And no less capable in any way, shape, or form. Just a wider gas tank. And when you fill it up, you add 22 extra pounds, or it equals 40 all told, between the GS and GSA. You absolutely don't notice it. BMW has these things so balanced, you don't notice it. You know what you notice when you fill the tank up in a GSA with that big old tank? Is in the summertime, the cold from that gasoline riding on your legs feels phenomenal. And it takes a long time for it to equalize, or, the equal ambient. It's fantastic. The one difference is probably a little less comfortable. GS versus GSA is the amount of air that comes to your legs, because this does shield your legs pretty good down here. So it does get hot, but just spread your legs a little bit and your legs become scoops and it draws it right in. And it takes forever to go through gas. The one I just turned in had 28 or 2,900 miles on it. I filled the gas tank up 10 times in 14 months and almost 3,000 miles. That's crazy. And quite a few of those fills were nowhere. I think I had the fuel light come on once. I always short fill them. And it's nothing nicer than but it depends on how you ride it now. But I've seen as low as like 278, I think. But I've seen as high as like, God, what was it? 330 something. Maybe it was more than that. The range that you have, because it calculates how much range you have after you fill it up based on how you've been riding it. But yeah, do yourself, if you're trying to decide between a GS and a GSA, you absolutely need to take them both for a ride. You definitely need to take them for a ride. That's just my personal opinion. The width looking of this thing, and it is wide. I mean, it's physically wider, but that just trips people right out. They sit on this thing and they look down and they go, oh, I could never ride this. It's too big and wide. It has no effect on it whatsoever. It's just a visual. It's a mind trick. I'm telling you, you take off and you ride one of these things around a little bit, you just absolutely forget that it's there, and you have no fear of going anywhere. My fear of going anywhere on these things is the stock 80/20 tires. You know, you got to watch out for slippery mud and sand. Everything else, you know, hard pack, regular dirt roads, they do fine for an 80/20 tire. But you put yourself a good set of like Continental TKC 80s on here, and man, they go just about anywhere you point them. If you look back on, was when I had the white GSA, the 2017, where I went looking for my son because I was afraid he was lost, and as it turned out, he was. Man, that was no place for a bike like this. No place. In fact, he still brings that up every once in a while. He goes, still can't believe you took that bike down that hill and then made it back up. It did. I did have a little bit of a stoppage there for a moment. You know what? I'm just gonna shoot up because I've got some stuff to do on the daily vlog, and I got a little errand to run. So I think I'm gonna conclude this MotoVlog side here and let you fine folks go. I don't know, there's gravel and stuff here. I'm afraid to push this thing. Plus the tires, you know, have probably 100 miles on them now, which is probably fine, but it was mostly freeway miles coming home with it, so the edge of the tires are still unscuffed. So anyway, but listen to this motor. I don't know if you can tell the difference in sound. It's just phenomenal. And the power from it, oh man, just the power is so nice. The numbers do not look at them specs, the difference in torque and horsepower, because riding it is night and day. There's a good one for you. Find a dealer that still has a 1200 kicking around. Take a 1200 for a ride, and then take the 1250. I don't care what kind of discount the 1200 might have on it. You're leaving with the 1250. You will sell your soul to the devil to get the 1250. And one of my daily vlog things, the easiest way I can compare it to, if you've ridden these things and even know what I'm talking about, but I had my 103, the black Street Glide Special, the 103 twin cam. You know, I made it, you know, maybe a mile, half mile, 3/4 of a mile, whatever it was, on the new Milwaukee 8. And I knew at that moment I was not going to leave without that motorcycle. And that's just well, I left it there because, one, it had to finish out the week. It was a VIP thing, so it couldn't be sold just yet. And anyway, I had to, you know, go home and do my financing and all that stuff. But anyway, that's the difference. The wholesale difference between the 103 twin cam and the 107 Milwaukee 8. Which now the Street Glide Specials come with a 114, and I've been told don't ride that or you're gonna be taking that home. But anyway, yeah, substantial difference. You'll love it. Anyway, I'm rolling out. I'm gonna do a little freeway run here because I'm gonna run out of light if I don't. Ooh, the power is crazy. I mean, you just barely touch this thing and it's like, hello mama. All right, thank you guys very much for coming along for the rip, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks now. Bye bye. Hey, kick that shield up too. We'll see ya.